Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Chris, and welcome back to once again another episode of the Survivor Recaps and Predictions podcast with my good friend Gocubs and I.
So we have this juice in my fridge right now that's like strawberry raspberry juice, and it's so fucking good. But not only that, the color is like the most pure color of red with a slight tint of purple that I've ever seen, and it's really cool. It's like the coolest color ever.
What brand?
Ocean Spray.
Yeah,
It's like Ocean Spray Natural, something like that.
Is it like what flavor is it?
It's strawberry raspberry.
Strawberry raspberry.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm jealous of the fact that you have that. we usually, when we get Ocean Spray, they end up buying cran raspberry and
Well, yeah.
Cranberry stuff. And I'm not the biggest fan of cranberry, but that strawberry raspberry sounds absolutely out of this world, and I am very jealous, my friend. Anyways, welcome back to Survivor Game Changers podcast here. We have quite an episode to go over. So as we talked about last week, we didn't know what the twist involving the two tribes going to tribal council, what that would entail. So we made many different people that we named, quite a few people that we would say would go out. So we will find out in this episode what exactly ended up happening with that. So we kick it all off.
It's fucking awesome is what it was.
Yes. We kick it all off. It's coming right out of tribal. Caleb has been voted out, and the Mauna tribe, they all feel pretty good about themselves now. And Ty made it clear, that he's playing with his head and not with his heart. Then a little bit, that the next morning, Debbie and Haley are talking, and Haley tries to convince Debbie that maybe getting rid of Ty would be the next best thing to do, because I guess the logic there was that Debbie and Ty are kind of from the same season and never really were close with each other, and it would be good just to get him out since he has a history of making big moves. But yes. Debbie said yes to Haley and said we need to get him out. But Debbie in confessional said that maybe Ty at some point, but right now us former Nuku are sticking together, and Haley is going to be on the outs going into the next tribal. Then we bounce right in to the reward challenge. Do you remember the reward challenge by any chance?
Yes. So only two people on each tribe participated. I forget who all it was. I think it was Ty and Brad for Mana, Ozzy and Troyzan for Tabua, and then I forget who it was for
JT and Malcolm for Nuku.
JT and Malcolm. Okay, so the reward for this was a lot of coffee stuff for whoever won, just a thermos of iced coffee for whoever came in second, and then nothing for who lost. I don't think this was a very high stakes reward challenge.
No,
it was just like, all right, have some fucking coffee.
I thought there were some treats that came along with it for the first place.
Yeah, there was for the winners.
Yeah.
But still not like the highest stakes.
Well, yes.
Yeah, not the biggest win.
We're not coffee drinkers.
No, clearly. But so
they bounced the ball.
Yeah, so they had to balance the ball for the first part and go through a series of obstacles. Each obstacle they went over, they added one length of stick to their stick. They did pretty well, except for Ty.
Yeah.
Ozzy went through it pretty quickly. JT went through it pretty easily too. Ty struggled a lot. And then at the end they had to throw sandbags at the at 10 targets. Troyzan got a really early start. Malcolm was soon after, and Malcolm actually ended up passing Troyzan and winning first. And then Ty was still not doing that great, but once he got to the end and Culpepper started, Culpepper like came back and Troyzan was not doing well, and Troyzan ended up losing. Culpepper got second.
Yeah, that was a interesting comeback, and it kind of solidified what Tavua was kind of thinking, which was kind of keeping Troyzan on the outs.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I mean, that would suck for Troyzan if he didn't have
an
idol. So, whenever we're going to keep an eye on them, whenever they do go to Tribal, if Troyzan will pull that idol on them, and someone, maybe a bigger target, ends up going home. But we'll see about that. So that Nuku wins, Mana gets second. And that was their first. I think that was the first time that Mana did not lose a challenge at all.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Tavua did not win. The next segment involved Ozzy and his survivor abilities. How he's always been the one that took care of the tribe, hunting and take. I think the segment that they showed was him getting a stingray for the tribes for them to eat. And Andrea specifically noticed how Ozzy has been like the master of Survivor, has always been the one that took care of his tribe. And I forget exactly what she said. She might have said like, "Oh, he's a threat," or it's interesting how he's been how he's taking care of us. I forget what the whole point of the segment was. I think it was just a segment on Ozzy and just what he's always been as a Survivor superstar.
Yeah.
So then we get a segment where Sandra makes it very clear, look, I'm in charge of this tribe, as she is apparently for all tribes. Any tribe that she's on, anyway. So JT and Malcolm ended up talking about, maybe next tribal we need to get her out. And I mean, and that makes sense. She's not really a big help in any of the physical challenges, and really she's just really manipulative, and really again takes charge of people in the tribe itself. So it would be good to get her out. But right now we do not know. We don't know if they'll be able to pull that off. It's just the two of them that's talking about it right now. All right, so then we get to the immunity challenge. Do you remember what the immunity challenge was?
Give me something to.
It was the blind. They were walking around blind. Yeah, the caller.
Yeah. Okay. So they had to go around and collect things blindfolded with people calling them out, as is a classic thing. Except this time the bags that they were collecting involved like a bunch of water just spilling on them. It went relatively the same for most of the tribe, except for Mana, who kind of just fell out of it, as they usually tend to do.
Correct.
Yeah. So it gets down to the end of it, and then the last challenge that they need to do is roll a ball through a labyrinth of sorts that they control with two things. But the catch is they have to roll 3 balls, and once you finish one, you can't do any others. Someone else on the tribe has to do it from there. So that'll happen. It gets down to Nuku and Tabua, who are very very close to each other. Andrea for Tabua and Varner for Nuku are like neck and neck, and then Varner like makes one quick jerk and loses the ball, and then Andrea is able to nicely sit it in, meaning that Tabua is safe from tribal.
Yeah, Tabua wins and makes up for the reward challenge, and now are the only tribe not going to tribal, and so they get to go back to camp with the immunity. As for the other 2 tribes, what Jeff ends up announcing is that the whole both tribes will be voting out one individual. So that means basically that everyone can decide on one person, which was not going to happen, or you could have like the split between the two tribes, and unfortunately Mana does not have the numbers, so it might be that Nuku gets out one of the Mana players, or just one of their own if they want to do that. So it was not one individual per tribe. So,
and they were also Mana was nervous about Haley flipping sides.
Right, and that was a key thing. And then you also have JT and Malcolm, who were kind of gung-ho about potentially flipping and getting out Sandra. So there was a whole lot going into it. So they go into they get back to camp, and we start out with Nuku, and they emphasize that they want to stick together. And so Sandra says that they want to get Sierra out. Because if it's Sierra, the Sierra is like the strongest female over there. You get her out, and that weakens the tribe. And JT, for some reason, comes out saying Ty. I don't know what the reason was. I think he just has a thing against Ty. And so Malcolm and JT once again discuss that they can vote Sandra if Brad is especially leading the charge to get Mana. To leading a charge at Mana to get Sandra out. Now, as for Mana, they are in fact discussing voting out Sandra, with only Sierra being the one maybe bringing up getting out Malcolm. And so they think that JT is probably going to be the swing vote, so they're going to have to cross their fingers and hope for the best. And so it's kind of decided on. They're all going to vote Sandra, and Ty decides, you know what, I want to go find the idol because I want to make sure we remain safe this week, or I can secure. I think initially was that I could secure my safety, but I think he generally wanted to use it for the tribe if he could find it.
Yeah,
and he does after using 4 trees to make an X in the ground. He dug and he found the hidden immunity idol, and he, as soon as he did that, he went back to the tribe camp, and he told them, "I have the idol," and now that is going to be used to hopefully save one of them, and if they could, that might give them a chance to vote out someone from Nuku. And then. And they don't really know for sure who they're going to use it on, because they don't know what Nuku is thinking. So they all just end up going to camp, to tribal council rather, and hoping for the best. And then we get to tribal council. So,
and what is about to happen is the greatest tribal council to ever happen.
So Culpepper. So this is I'm not going to keep track of everything that happens or says in this tribal council. That usually I only do like the main important stuff. So like the first, I guess, bit of action that happens at tribal council is that Culpepper ends up calling out Malcolm and Sandra as like the big threats from Nuku. And then we have a little bit of a segment as well where Haley is kind of being fought over by Nuku and Mana, where Nuku is saying like, "Oh, you're at the bottom of this tribe. Come on, flip to us." And Mana's just like, "No, we want you. You are very important to Mana." And Nuku begins whispering to each other. They're like, "Oh, maybe we should turn to Brad. Maybe we should flip to Brad because he's the stronger. He might be the stronger player." Well, and then they start talking, and then this is I'm taking these notes while the tribal council is actually happening. And I have here, they're all talking. What the fuck? I'm confused. And essentially what ends up breaking out is into this whole whisper fest between the two tribes. That the two tribes are talking to each other. Then all of a sudden, JT gets up. He talks to Brad. Haley gets up, talks to Sandra, and now they're all kind of interversing and chatting. Can you make any sense out of this, Gocubs?
No, I can't, because it's insane, and there's never been something like this where 2 separate tribes go to tribal to vote out one person.
Yeah, it was a weird event, and I knew that something weird was going to happen at tribal when the coming attraction showed Jeff Probst saying, "Oh my gosh!" But
yeah,
and he was right, and it was a weird tribal. I had no idea what was about to happen. It seemed like the plan was going into it that Nuku wanted to get rid of Sierra, and Mana we didn't really know what they seemed like they were going to vote out Sandra,
But we
and
weren't really sure.
they didn't know who the idol was going to be played on, and then all of a sudden that kind of all blew up once everyone started whispering to each other. Haley at one point said that we have to get out maybe the strongest physical threat, and that hinted into what ended up happening as we get ready to vote. Actually, Haley delays it for a second. She's just like, I didn't consent to voting yet, and Sandra's just like, we can vote now. We can vote. Haley gets up and we get ready to vote, and so then everyone votes. We get back, and Jeff Probst puts the votes down. He's just like, does anyone have an idol? And Ty, he gets up, and it's at this point that I'm like, oh, maybe he should play it for Culpepper, maybe because they seem like they might have flipped. And then when all of a sudden Ty turned around to Brad pointed to Sierra. Ty gave it to Sierra, and it's at this point that both me and my dad were like, "Oh no, I don't know if this is gonna work out. I don't know."
I had no idea, and I didn't want to like say anything because I just wanted to see what happened at that point. Because
right.
I knew that either they played the idol for the right person or they fucked up.
Right, and it was like I was just like I have no idea for sure what exactly is happening.
And each were as equally to likely happen.
Right. So we get to we get to handing it to Sierra. Sierra gets up, gives it to Jeff. Jeff confirms that it's an idol. And then we get to the votes. The first vote comes out and it's Sierra. Okay. Now this is interesting. Sierra.
Yeah.
It's 6 votes. Sierra.
Whenever an idol is played, the production changes the votes to say to have all the idol votes go first.
Well, right. I think Jeff's the one that ends up counting it, and he probably knows which ones are Sierra and which ones were anyone else.
Right.
Now, this is where things get interesting because, like Brad said at the beginning, he called out both Sandra and Malcolm and said that those were the 2 key threats on that tribe. And Haley made a big deal about going after physical threats, and Sierra brought up Malcolm's name in the when they first were talking about it at camp. And the first vote that comes out after Sierra's 6 votes that were canceled out was Malcolm. And we got Malcolm for 5 votes, and Malcolm is in a shocking tribal council, and like you said, maybe one of the best, if not the best tribal council ever. Malcolm gets kicked out and leaves before the merge happens.
Very unfortunate. I love Malcolm.
I like him too, of course.
As a person, as a player, he's really good, but carries that huge threat on his back just because of how physical he is and how nice of a person he is.
Right, and I think me and my dad were talking about this when we saw the episode, and I think if you were one tribe in there, you would not want to vote out Malcolm. You would want to vote out someone like Sandra.
Yeah.
But since you have 2 tribes in there, you're trying to weaken a tribe that you do not care about right now. That is their problem. Keep the one that's maybe causing the chaos in there with Sandra and get rid of their if not their strongest player, basically. He's the strongest player right now physically on Nuku. Get him out, and I ultimately agreed with the decision. I thought it was right move by them. But yeah, that's that. I was really hoping that we'd see maybe even another crazy twist next week, but I think we need a week to kind of breathe. Although, according to our latest previews, Debbie has an absolute breakdown.
Yeah.
So that should be fun.
And Sandra's fucking pissed at JT.
Well, yeah. You have to wonder. Some fights are gonna break out after what happened. So it's fun. It's exciting times on Survivor Game Changers.
Yep.
So, let's pick a tribe. Who do you think is gonna win the immunity next week?
All right, I say that Mana's finally going to get their shit together and win this one.
Win it all right, outright.
Outright win.
Okay.
And Nuku is going to go to tribal, and JT is going to get the boot.
Oh, okay. You just went right through it. Okay, so
Yeah.
so you're saying JT
Sorry.
is gonna? Yeah, no, it's okay. JT's gonna be the one that is eliminated of
Yeah.
the group. Okay. As for
Because they're
me,
pissed at him.
well, yeah. As for me, I think I'm gonna go. Mana's gonna win outright as well. I like that, but I'm gonna say Nuku gets second. So I think Tavu is gonna go to Tribal Council for the very first time.
All right.
Troyzen plays the idol and ends up voting out who he believes is the biggest threat on that or well, I'll backstep that. Who he thinks probably is maybe not gonna help them win challenges. I think he's gonna vote out S3E4.
Okay.
So that's who I'll go with. Yeah, that was a short podcast, but I think we got through it. Any final thoughts on this past episode? What you thought about it?
Not really. Just like I feel like with how well that tribal went, they're gonna do that twist again next season. Probably not anymore this one, but
Right.
next season there will be another where they're like, all right, we got to get two tribes, two of the three tribes.
Yeah.
Going to
I could even see it where they pull it again next week, where they're just like, yeah, this is gonna be our norm now until.
or
March.
here's another thing we could do. Is have still have the challenge, still have let's say there's this. All right, let's say that there's just two tribes.
Mm.
The tribe that wins the challenge still gets to go to tribal and vote, but all of them on that tribe are immune.
That's an interesting one. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean that'd be pretty.
That might be overkill with the one tribe immune just like pushing all of their numbers into one person that they want to see gone.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a tough one, but it might work. I could see it maybe working, and it would be interesting. I think that if they really liked what they saw this week, that they might have saw that and might have been like, oh, maybe we could do it for the following week as well.
Mm.
But I think it might be just a one-time thing. That's at least why I expect it to be.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. But very fun, very fun tribal. Malcolm was very distraught about the whole thing, which made me feel pretty bad. But he I think he realizes that the game, that it was probably one of the craziest things to ever happen in the game. So I think he kind of semi appreciated being part of it, even though he fell victim to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun stuff. So guys, thank you so much for watching.
It's been fun.
I hope you all enjoyed. Be good to one another, be kind to one another, and we'll see you guys next
Fill
week.
out some brackets.
Oh yeah, well, it's kind of too late for that.
Kind of late for that.
Yeah.
Watch the games. Hope that your Michigan and Oregon are tied.
Okay.
Dating this recording.
Yeah. There you go. All right. See you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.